Prioritizing meaningful goals is a foundational principle for achieving personal and professional fulfillment. In a world filled with distractions, competing responsibilities, and societal pressures, the ability to identify and focus on what truly matters can make the difference between a life of purpose and one of regret. When you prioritize goals that align with your deepest values and aspirations, you create a roadmap that guides your actions, helps you make better decisions, and fosters long-term satisfaction. It's not just about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. The first step in prioritizing meaningful goals is gaining clarity. Too often, people chase goals that were never truly their own. These can be expectations inherited from family, desires shaped by social media, or ambitions driven by the need for external validation. Taking time to reflect on what genuinely inspires and fulfills you is crucial. This may involve journaling, meditating, or having deep conversations with yourself or others who know you well. Through this self-inquiry, you begin to differentiate between what is meaningful and what is merely urgent or popular. Once you have clarity, it becomes easier to assess which goals deserve your time and energy. It's tempting to fill your to-do list with small, easily completed tasks because they offer a sense of accomplishment. But these tasks often serve as distractions from the more difficult, yet more impactful, goals that lead to growth. Meaningful goals often require stepping outside of your comfort zone, embracing uncertainty, and maintaining effort over time. They are not always the quickest wins, but they yield the greatest rewards. Therefore, learning to delay gratification and focus on long-term outcomes is essential. Another key aspect of prioritizing meaningful goals is aligning your daily actions with them. This means regularly evaluating how you spend your time and making adjustments as necessary. A calendar filled with meetings, errands, and low-impact tasks can quickly crowd out time for what's most important. By intentionally blocking time for high-priority work and saying no to non-essential commitments, you protect your energy and attention. This discipline helps build momentum, which is critical in the pursuit of challenging goals. Momentum not only keeps you moving forward, but also reinforces your motivation as you begin to see results. Equally important is the ability to reevaluate and adjust your goals as your life evolves. What matters most to you at one stage of life may shift as your circumstances, interests, and responsibilities change. Staying flexible and open to these changes ensures that your goals remain aligned with who you are and what you value. This adaptability doesn't mean a lack of commitment, rather, it's a sign of maturity and self-awareness. It allows you to refine your direction and avoid spending years pursuing something that no longer brings you fulfillment. Prioritizing meaningful goals also requires the courage to let go of what is not serving you. This can be particularly challenging when those around you have different priorities, or when you've invested significant time in paths that no longer feel right. Letting go might mean leaving a job that doesn't inspire you, ending relationships that drain you, or abandoning projects that no longer align with your vision. While this can be difficult, it is often necessary to create space for what truly matters. Every decision to let go of something unaligned is a step toward living more authentically. Moreover, meaningful goals are often connected to contribution. They tend to go beyond personal gain and involve making a positive impact on others. Whether it's through your work, your relationships, or your creative pursuits, aligning your goals with a larger purpose can add a profound sense of meaning to your efforts. This sense of contribution not only motivates you to keep going during tough times, but also creates a legacy that extends beyond your own achievements. Ultimately, the process of prioritizing meaningful goals is deeply personal and ongoing. It requires honesty, reflection, and a commitment to live in alignment with your values. While the world may constantly pull you in different directions, anchoring yourself to what truly matters allows you to navigate life with intention and integrity. You may not always have control over external circumstances, but you do have control over what you choose to pursue. By focusing on meaningful goals, you give your life direction, purpose, and the satisfaction that comes from knowing you're building something that truly matters. Committing to consistent effort is one of the most important, yet often overlooked, elements of achieving lasting success. While talent, intelligence, and opportunity all play roles in personal and professional advancement, none of these qualities can substitute for the power of showing up day after day and putting in the work. True progress, whether in building a business, improving your health, mastering a skill, or cultivating relationships, is rarely the result of a single massive action. Instead, it is built gradually through small, repeated efforts over time. The discipline to be consistent, even when motivation wanes or results seem slow, is what separates those who succeed from those who merely start strong and fizzle out. In a society that values instant gratification and overnight success, the idea of committing to consistent effort can seem outdated or even discouraging. Quick results are often celebrated while the slow, steady grind remains largely invisible. Social media highlights the outcomes, promotions, achievements, transformations, but rarely shows the years of quiet persistence that made them possible. As a result, people can become impatient, jumping from one goal to another, chasing momentum but never staying with something long enough to see it through. The reality is that anything meaningful takes time, and the willingness to keep going, especially when it's hard, is what creates real change. Consistency builds trust with yourself. When you commit to doing the work every day, even in small doses, you reinforce a sense of reliability and integrity within your own mind. You begin to believe in your ability to follow through, which builds confidence and resilience. This internal trust becomes a resource you can draw on during challenging times. Rather than needing a burst of inspiration or waiting for the perfect moment, you operate from a baseline of steady progress. This is especially powerful when dealing with setbacks or slow progress. It's easy to stay motivated when things are going well, but the ability to keep showing up during plateaus or struggles is what ultimately leads to breakthroughs. Consistency also compounds over time. Just like interest in a bank account, the benefits of regular effort multiply. A few minutes of daily practice, reading, writing, or exercising might not feel significant in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, the results become undeniable. The skills become sharper, the body grows stronger, the mind becomes more focused, and the outcomes begin to reflect the time invested. This compounding effect is often underestimated, yet it's one of the most powerful forces in personal development. The key is patience and trust in the process, even when immediate results are not visible. Another benefit of committing to consistent effort is that it reduces the emotional weight of action. When something is done sporadically, it often feels more difficult. You have to remotivate yourself every time, overcome inertia, and battle internal resistance. But when you turn an action into a habit through regular practice, it becomes easier and more automatic. The decision-making process is removed, and you rely less on fleeting motivation. This routine-based approach is especially helpful in areas that require sustained focus, such as writing a book, learning a language, or building a fitness routine. Instead of asking whether you feel like doing it, you simply do it, because that's who you are and what you do. It's important to acknowledge that consistency doesn't mean perfection. Life happens, and there will be days when things don't go according to plan. What matters is not never missing a day, but always returning to the effort. One missed workout, skipped study session, or bad day at work doesn't negate your progress. What matters is the pattern you create over time. Staying consistent means learning to be flexible, forgiving yourself for lapses, and then getting back on track without dwelling on failure. This mindset fosters long-term growth and emotional resilience. Committing to consistent effort also cultivates a deep sense of purpose. When you invest in something over time, it becomes part of your identity. You begin to care more deeply about the outcome because of the effort you've put in. The journey itself becomes meaningful, not just the destination. This sustained engagement creates a sense of fulfillment that quick wins rarely provide. You realize that the daily effort isn't just a means to an end, it's part of a life well lived. The discipline, focus, and growth you experience become their own rewards. Ultimately, committing to consistent effort is a choice you make every day. It's not always glamorous or exciting, but it is always effective. When you decide to show up and do the work, especially when you don't feel like it, you are building a foundation for lasting success. Over time, your steady actions create momentum, progress, and confidence. And while others may be looking for shortcuts, you are building something real, sustainable, and deeply rewarding. Avoiding burnout through clarity begins with understanding the root causes of burnout itself. Burnout is not just about being tired or overworked. It's often the result of prolonged stress combined with a lack of purpose, direction, or fulfillment. Many people operate in a constant state of busyness, moving from one task to the next without ever stopping to ask if those tasks are meaningful or aligned with their values. Over time, this disconnection erodes motivation and drains energy, leading to emotional exhaustion, reduced performance, and a sense of emptiness. Clarity acts as a powerful antidote by providing a sense of focus, alignment, and intention in daily life. When you are clear about what truly matters to you, you can make decisions that support your well-being instead of depleting it. Clarity helps you differentiate between urgent distractions and truly important priorities. Without it, everything feels equally important, and you fall into the trap of trying to do it all. This creates constant pressure and a feeling of never being caught up, which accelerates burnout. By getting clear on your values, goals, and boundaries, you can eliminate tasks that don't serve you and redirect your energy toward what actually contributes to your growth and fulfillment. Clarity also empowers you to set healthy boundaries. Many people experience burnout because they say yes to too many obligations, at work, in relationships, or in their personal lives. Without a clear sense of your limits and what you want to prioritize, it's easy to overextend yourself. When you have clarity, you're more comfortable saying no to things that don't align with your vision. This doesn't mean you become selfish or unavailable. Rather, it means you are protecting your energy so that you can give your best to the things that truly matter. Saying no becomes easier when you have a strong yes that you're already committed to. One of the most important aspects of avoiding burnout is understanding your personal rhythms and energy cycles. Clarity helps you recognize when you're most productive, when you need rest, and what types of activities energize or drain you. It allows you to design your schedule and workload in a way that honors your natural capacity instead of constantly pushing past it. Too often, people ignore signs of fatigue or overwhelm because they feel guilty or fear falling behind. But pushing through without reflection often leads to diminishing returns. When you're clear about your limits and intentional about rest, you can sustain your performance over the long term without burning out. Another benefit of clarity is that it helps you stay connected to your purpose. Burnout often occurs when people lose sight of why they're doing what they're doing. When work or daily life starts to feel like a grind with no deeper meaning, it becomes hard to stay motivated. But when you are grounded in a sense of purpose, even difficult tasks take on a new significance. You're more willing to face challenges because you see them as part of a bigger picture. Clarity of purpose creates resilience, helping you navigate stress without losing your sense of direction or joy. In times of stress or overwhelm, clarity acts as a compass. It reminds you to pause and reflect rather than react impulsively. It encourages intentional choices instead of default habits. When you take time to regularly reassess your goals, priorities, and emotional state, you're less likely to get lost in the chaos. This doesn't require hours of meditation or deep analysis. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to ask yourself what matters most right now, what can wait, and what needs to be let go. These small moments of reflection help realign your actions with your values and prevent you from slipping into autopilot mode. Avoiding burnout through clarity also means recognizing that clarity itself is not static. Your goals, values, and needs will evolve, and that's okay. Clarity is a practice, not a destination. It requires regular check-ins with yourself, a willingness to make adjustments, and the courage to change direction when needed. When you treat clarity as a continuous process, you remain flexible and resilient even in times of uncertainty. You become more self-aware, more attuned to your inner needs, and more capable of navigating complexity without losing yourself. In the end, avoiding burnout is not just about working less, it's about working smarter and living with intention. Clarity helps you strip away the unnecessary, focus on the essential, and preserve your energy for what truly matters. When your actions are aligned with your values and guided by a clear sense of purpose, you not only avoid burnout, you also create a life that is sustainable, fulfilling, and deeply meaningful. Discipline over distractions is a choice that defines the difference between progress and stagnation in today's world. With constant notifications, endless entertainment, and the overwhelming pressure to multitask, distractions are more accessible than ever before. They tempt you with short-term comfort and instant gratification, often at the expense of long-term goals and meaningful work. Choosing discipline doesn't mean rejecting enjoyment or becoming rigid. It means consciously directing your time and energy toward what matters most, even when it's not the easiest or most appealing option in the moment. It's the ability to remain focused on your priorities despite the noise around you. The challenge lies in the subtlety of distraction. It doesn't always come in the form of obvious time wasters. Sometimes it disguises itself as productivity, replying to emails, attending non-essential meetings, checking in on social media under the guise of networking. These distractions can create the illusion of busyness while pulling you away from deep work and focused progress. Discipline is what allows you to see through that illusion and protect your attention for the tasks that truly move you forward. It helps you stay committed to what you've identified as important, not what is merely urgent or convenient. Developing discipline begins with awareness. You need to become conscious of how you spend your time and what triggers your distractions. This might involve tracking your daily habits, noting where your focus drifts, or reflecting on how you feel after spending time on different activities. Often, people find that distractions offer momentary relief from discomfort, whether it's boredom, stress, or fear of failure. By recognizing these patterns, you can begin to address the root causes instead of simply reacting to them. Awareness gives you the power to pause, choose differently, and slowly build the mental strength required for discipline. Discipline grows stronger with practice. It's not something you either have or don't. It's a muscle that can be trained. Every time you resist the urge to scroll, delay a dopamine hit, or finish what you started, you're reinforcing the neural pathways that support focus and self-control. Over time, these small choices compound, making discipline feel more natural and less like a struggle. That doesn't mean it becomes effortless, but it does become more familiar. And as it becomes part of your identity, you start to see yourself as someone who follows through, which builds confidence and consistency in your efforts. One of the most effective ways to strengthen discipline is by creating an environment that supports it. Willpower alone is not always enough, especially when temptations are within easy reach. Design your surroundings to reduce distractions and make focus the default. This might mean turning off notifications, setting specific time blocks for deep work, organizing your workspace, or using apps that limit access to distracting websites. Structure helps remove decision fatigue, allowing you to stay on track without constantly battling temptation. The fewer choices you have to make about staying focused, the easier it becomes to follow through. Setting clear goals and breaking them down into manageable tasks also supports discipline. When your goals are vague or overwhelming, it's easy to get discouraged and seek escape through distraction. But when you know exactly what you need to do next and why it matters, it becomes easier to stay engaged. Discipline thrives on clarity and purpose. When each task is connected to a larger vision that you care about, even the hard or mundane parts take on greater meaning. This connection provides the motivation to persist, even when the path is difficult or progress is slow. Discipline is also about managing energy, not just time. You can have all the time in the world, but if you're exhausted or mentally scattered, it's hard to stay focused. Taking care of your physical and mental well-being is not a distraction. It's a foundational part of building sustainable discipline. This includes getting enough rest, eating well, exercising regularly, and taking breaks when needed. When your mind and body are in balance, you're better equipped to handle challenges and stay committed to your goals. Discipline doesn't mean pushing yourself to the point of burnout. It means creating habits that support long-term performance. Ultimately, choosing discipline over distractions is an act of self-respect. It's choosing to honor your potential and your priorities instead of settling for comfort and convenience. It means trusting that your future self will thank you for the efforts you make today. Distractions will always be there, whispering promises of ease and escape, but each time you turn away from them and back toward your goals, you are reinforcing a life built on purpose, integrity, and intentional growth. In a distracted world, discipline becomes a superpower, one that enables you to rise above the noise and create something meaningful. Measuring progress instead of just activity is a fundamental mindset shift that leads to real, meaningful outcomes. Many people fall into the trap of staying busy without getting closer to their goals. They fill their schedules with tasks, attend meetings, answer emails, and check off to-do lists. But at the end of the day, they feel unfulfilled or stuck. This is because activity alone doesn't guarantee improvement. What truly matters is whether the effort you're putting in is moving you forward in a measurable and purposeful way. Focusing on progress ensures that your time and energy are contributing to growth, not just motion. The difference between activity and progress lies in intentionality. Activity can be mindless, routine, or reactive. It often feels productive in the moment, but when examined more closely, it doesn't always serve your larger goals. Progress, on the other hand, is purposeful. It reflects movement toward a specific objective and is guided by clarity and focus. To make this distinction in your own life, start by defining what success looks like. Without a clear outcome in mind, any activity can feel valid even if it's not truly impactful. By establishing concrete benchmarks, you create a framework that helps you evaluate whether your actions are actually contributing to your desired result. One of the most powerful ways to measure progress is to break your larger goals into smaller, trackable milestones. Big goals can be overwhelming or vague, which makes it difficult to tell if you're making headway. But when you divide them into smaller, achievable steps, it becomes easier to stay motivated and focused. Each completed milestone provides tangible evidence that you're moving in the right direction. These small wins not only build momentum but also offer opportunities for reflection and adjustment. If something isn't working, you can course-correct early instead of waiting until the end to realize you've been off track. Tracking progress also helps combat the discouragement that can arise when results aren't immediately visible. Many meaningful pursuits, such as building a business, learning a skill, or improving your health, take time to show external results. If you rely only on visible outcomes to validate your effort, it's easy to lose motivation. But by measuring progress internally, such as improvements in consistency, understanding, or technique, you reinforce the value of your efforts. This kind of tracking builds resilience and keeps you engaged through the slow phases of growth. You begin to recognize that not all progress is dramatic or immediate. Much of it is subtle and cumulative. Another benefit of focusing on progress is that it encourages you to prioritize outcomes over appearances. In environments where busyness is rewarded, there can be a temptation to do things for the sake of being seen as productive rather than for the sake of actual results. This leads to wasted energy and inflated workloads. When you shift your focus to progress, you naturally streamline your efforts. You start asking more effective questions, like what's the most important thing I can do today to move this forward, instead of what can I do to stay busy. This shift leads to better decisions, greater efficiency, and deeper satisfaction. Reflection plays a key role in measuring progress. Taking time to regularly review what you've accomplished, what's working, and what needs improvement gives you valuable insight. It prevents you from going through the motions and helps you remain connected to your goals. This can be done through journaling, weekly reviews, or check-ins with a mentor or accountability partner. Reflection creates space for learning, which is an essential part of progress. Even when outcomes aren't what you hoped for, the lessons gained can inform your future efforts and help you grow in wisdom and strategy. Focusing on progress also fosters a growth mindset. Instead of seeing setbacks or slowdowns as failures, you see them as part of the journey. You recognize that improvement is not linear and that persistence often pays off in the long run. This mindset reduces pressure and anxiety, allowing you to stay committed without becoming overwhelmed by perfectionism or fear. Measuring progress gives you a sense of control and ownership over your path, reinforcing the belief that your efforts matter and that you're capable of meaningful change. Ultimately, measuring progress rather than just activity leads to a more intentional, fulfilling life. It helps you avoid the trap of meaningless busyness and instead focus on creating real results. By defining clear goals, tracking meaningful milestones, reflecting regularly, and learning from experience, you build a path that leads to genuine achievement. In doing so, you honor both your time and your potential, ensuring that your actions are not just keeping you occupied, but actually moving you forward.